Hello and welcome to another episode of the BSN podcast. Today is Wednesday, August 24th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far today and had a good rest of their day yesterday. It is in fact Wednesday, August 24th, fresh off of a 2-game Subway Series sweep for the New York Yankees as they get 2 big wins, extend their winning streak now to 3 games dating back to the Sunday win against the Blue Jays. And it was 2 very good games for the Yankees. The score was 4-2 in Game 1 and 4-2 in Game 2. So 2 very kind of just, 2 just clean, good baseball games for the New York Yankees, although there was one moment last night where it wasn't so clean with the Gleyber Torres boneheaded play trying to get McNeil out at second instead of going for Alonso at home, who had tripped over third base, third base kind of tripped over his own feet, stumbled, and then went again, and, Torres decided to go to second, which I don't know why. That was about, if you want to critique last night, that was about the only time to critique for the New York Yankees. You had very good pitching up and down the board. Montez did what he needed to do. A very good win last night for the Yankees, and you're on a 3-game win streak now. As I said yesterday, this team's starting to show a little bit of glimpses of what they were in the early part of the year in terms of playing clean baseball, having good at-bats, playing small ball, getting runners on, hitting with runners in scoring position. The Yankees did all that last night and on Monday night, and you hope now that they can carry this into Oakland. So we'll get into more of this in the second topic, as we'll really talk about the Yankees-Mets in the second topic of today's podcast. But Yankees-Mets will both have a day off today. Yankees will head out to Oakland to play the A's. They'll start up a West Coast trip in Oakland, and then the Mets will open up a 4-game set at home against the Rockies. So the Yankees will head out west to play a 4-game set against Oakland. Rockies will head out will go to Citi Field. Will play home for the first time since this 10-game road trip in which they went 4-6 on. They will head out on the road for 4 games, or head out back at home for a 4-game set against the Rockies, which will include Old Timers Day. So Yankees, A's, Mets, Rockies is what's going on coming up. Day all off night tonight. So, a little bit of, get a little bit of the other games coming on, maybe on the TVs, and Yankees, Mets, nothing going tonight for the Yankees and Mets as they both have a day off. So let's get to the topics for today's podcast. Like I mentioned, we're going to get to the Yankees and Mets in the second topic, but we're going to start things off today with the big news coming out of the NBA. Kevin Durant is staying with the Brooklyn Nets. This is major news coming out of the world of basketball, considering everything that has kind of gone on, from him requesting a trade to then, hearing the rumors about all these other teams being involved, the trade offers, hearing the rumors that, he wanted Sean Marks and Steve Nash fired, to now he seems okay with it. So it's a very interesting situation. It's a very weird situation, but for now at least, Kevin Durant is staying with the Brooklyn Nets, and, it's going to be, him, Ben Simmons, hopefully if he decides to play, and Kyrie Irving going for an NBA championship, going for an NBA title this upcoming season. So that's the hope, that's the goal, and I'll get into this and kind of break it all down. As Kevin Durant, after requesting a trade about 2 months ago, back in June, is staying and committed to the Brooklyn Nets. So we'll talk about it and how it all played out. We'll also get to the Yankees Mets, like I said last night. Yankees get the win, 4-2, so combined 8-4 in the 2 games, both games being 4-2. And the Yankees get a little bit healthier. You heard last night that they optioned Florial back up to Scranton, so Yankees will get Stan back from the IL, which is a big boost. Florial will head back up to Scranton after, being here for a couple. He really didn't do much in terms of his bat. That's one thing with Florial. I've always kind of said, like, his bat's good. His bat's always been good, but his fielding's always been good. His bat's not been good, and that's always been the case when he comes up to the majors. Not the case in the minor leagues. It's just about, kind of adjusting, getting to the majors, and he can't hit. He's a high strikeout guy, and he shows a lot of glimpses in the minor leagues. He takes some good swings, but he's sometimes under it, rolls over it. He's just sometimes a tad off. So he'll head back down to Scranton, and Stanton will join the Yankees back up in Oakland, although he was with the Yankees yesterday. He did a workout and did some live pitching from Sevy, who did his first live ABs. So a lot of good things happening right now in terms of health with the Yankees. And we'll also get to the New York Sports Update, like I said. Yankees Mets day off today, so not much going on there in the world of New York sports today. All right, so with all that being said, a lot to get to here on the program on this Wednesday, August 24th. With all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get into it. So through all the rumors, through all the drama over the past 2 months in the world of not just the NBA, but the world of the Brooklyn Nets and fan base and their organization, dating back to when Kevin Durant, requested his trade in, what was it, like late June, early July. I forget exactly when he did it. We all know, though, when he did it, it was on the 3-year anniversary of the clean sweep when they brought in Kyrie Irving, when they brought in KD and DeAndre Jordan, who's obviously no longer with the team anymore. I don't even know where he is now. Through all the drama, through all the noise, you hear recently, the Grizzlies are involved. You hear recently with, the Celtics are involved. The Lakers wanted Kyrie. Does KD and Kyrie go somewhere else? Do they pair up somewhere else? Do the Nets fire Sean Marks and, Steve Nash? So through all the rumors, through all the drama over the past 2 months, we have now finally gotten to a point where we've gotten the answer. You hear a couple weeks ago that Kevin Durant wanted Steve Nash and Sean Marks fired. When he met with Joe Tsai, you get the tweet from Joe Tsai that says, we trust, our front office. We believe that we're going to go with what's best for the Brooklyn Nets. And now, like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, you hear that Kevin Durant's staying. And it seems like all good in the world again. So Kevin Durant is, in fact, staying with the Brooklyn Nets throughout all this drama and just news and the reporting and the rumors. Every day there was like a new story. This team's involved, this team's involved, this team's involved. Nets don't want to trade him. Nets want this, Nets want that. All of that, Kevin Durant staying with the Nets. And it's been a very long 2 months as a Brooklyn Nets fan because you've been waiting for an answer. Are they going to fire GM? Are they going to fire the GM and Sean Marks? Are they going to fire Steve Nash? Are they going to get rid of Kevin Durant? Are they going to keep Kevin Durant and just say, look, we're not going to trade you. Either play or you sit out. Or are they going to trade him, get a ton of return, and kind of restart and win now, still kind of get young assets, win now guys to replace Kevin Durant. Although it's going to be hard to do that just because it's Kevin Durant and what he can do for an organization, what he can do for a team is unbelievable. I understand, some of his other stuff is, I understand, how loyal is he, all that stuff is all realistic questions. I understand that all. But you have to realize that, when he's out there, he's one of the best players in the world. So all of that, he's staying with the Nets. And look, we don't really know what all happened. As a fan, you really don't know. Was this something, was this kind of Kevin Durant? Was it a miscommunication from the Nets where, Steve Nash and Kevin Durant really didn't have much communication and Kevin Durant felt like in a way, maybe, there was a disconnect there or Kevin Durant felt there was a disconnect? Was there a disconnect between Kevin Durant and the organization? Was KD kind of, a little bit taken back by the comments of Sean Marks saying that, we want loyal guys, we want guys that are committed to winning, basically pointing the finger to Kyrie Irving, who, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving are going to be close. Kevin Durant's always going to back up his friend. Is it that? Was it just a miscommunication? Was it just the fact that maybe Kevin Durant was frustrated at the season, how it ended, and said, look, I'm going to request a trade, see where it gets me. I want to go somewhere else because this obviously hasn't worked. And now he kind of sees it's like, maybe the market's not, quite where it was. Maybe, meaning the market for Kevin Durant is not quite where he expected it to be. Whatever it was, obviously it's solved now. Rich Kleiman, Kevin Durant, Joe Tsai, they all met. And obviously now it's solved. So whatever it was that caused this, it's over with. Because they're not going to fire Sean Marks. They're not going to fire Steve Nash. So it can't obviously be the frustration of Steve Nash and Sean Marks. Now, Kevin Durant did say he wanted them fired. Are they now going to say, look, are they now kind of saying, look, we'll give you one more year. If you don't win it, we'll get rid of them? Is it one of those things or where they say, look, or could the Nets have kind of just said, look, we're not going to trade you. You either play or you sit out. No other way to put it. We're not going to trade you until and that's the approach the Nets have really taken, I feel like. Now, is that what Kevin Durant has gotten him angry now, says, I'll stay, not instead of, continuing to, elongate this. Now he's saying he stays. Is it because the Nets, kind of said, look, we're not going to trade you until we find the perfect deal. We don't want to trade you until we find the perfect deal. Is it that? And Kevin Durant figured, look, I'm not sitting out. I'll play through this, and we'll see what happens, and we'll see how it plays out. Is it the fact that, it doesn't look like Kyrie Irving's going to get traded, where there were some rumors there? Whatever it is, it's weird that he requested a trade. He said that Steve Nash and Sean Marks, he wanted them to be fired. They didn't fire him, and now he's back. And I'm happy about that. We all should be. Because let's be real here. If the Nets traded Kevin Durant, no matter who you get back, it's not going to be the same as what Kevin Durant can bring to a team night in, night out. I mean, he's one of the best basketball players on the planet. There's no arguing that. If you're arguing that and you don't think Kevin Durant's good, you just don't know basketball. No other way to put it. If you don't think Kevin Durant's a good basketball player, you have no clue. You don't know basketball. What he brings to the table on a night out basis in terms of what he can do on the perimeter, what he can do in the inside, getting to the hoop, it just his pure scoring ability. He averaged 29.9 points per game last year. Right up there in the 30, right up there with 30, in the game per game. So no matter who the Nets were going to trade and get back for Kevin Durant, you knew it wasn't going to be, exactly what Kevin Durant can bring. Same thing if you would to get rid of Kyrie Irving. You might get a ton of draft picks, you might get a couple young players, but are those young players going to truly, turn into what you expect them to be? Are you going to be able to, execute and dominate, and absolutely nail all those draft picks that you get in return? Let's be real here. Probably not. Maybe out of the 5 draft picks you get, maybe 3 of them turn into what you want. 2 of them, if you're lucky, turn into stars. You're taking the riskier way. If you get proven players, then maybe you get that. Young guys that are still up and coming. Or, you're not going to just trade for a bunch of young guys that you hope that they turn into something. You have to have some proven players. So no matter who the Nets were going to trade and get in return for Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving, it wasn't going to be the same as what Kevin Durant can bring to the table night in. He's the best basketball player on the planet. Nobody else is really better than him. He's just, when he night in, night out basis, his pure scoring ability. He can play a little defense. He can, shoot the 3, get to the free throw line. Just his pure ability to score is unmatched. So you're not going to get that in any other player that you get. So I think that's why the Nets kind of waited this thing out. And that's why if you're a Net fan today, you should be happy. Because I'm thrilled. You don't have to, you have to realize, if Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving would have gotten traded, we would have been stuck with Ben Simmons and a couple other dudes that you hope would make an impact. That's not good. That's not good. So the fact that you now have Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving coming back, you hope Ben Simmons can come into the equation, it's a good scenario for the Nets. And I think really what this came down to is the Nets told Kevin Durant, look, we're not going to trade you. Or it could be, we're not going to trade you until we find the perfect deal. And teams, weren't willing to give up that. You look at the Celtics. You hear rumors that the Nets wanted Jaylen Brown from the Celtics. Celtics don't want to give up Jaylen Brown, or they wanted Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart. Celtics didn't want to give that up. They wanted a lot in return. And I think I think the Nets kind of said, look, you either play for us this year and you try your hardest and we go out for a championship, or you sit out and you don't play. And we just move on with the season with the roster we got, assuming Kyrie Irving's still there, Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons, and, the questionable bench that we have, which, who knows what Joe Harris is going to look like coming off the injury. You hope that he can be the shooter that he was, when he left. So all those things. So that's what I think it comes down to. But if you're a Net fan, say you should be happy. Because no matter what you got in return for Kevin Durant, it wasn't going to be what Kevin Durant could bring to you night in and night out, if that makes sense. So, this is good. And look, and I'll tell you this, because people were asking me this yesterday. This is all drama. It happens a ton in the NBA. It happens a lot. And I actually thought he was going to get traded, in my personal opinion, just because I thought, usually a lot of times you see this. When stars request trade, they get traded. I mean, look at the most recent one. When Anthony Davis requested that trade and that drama was going on in New Orleans, they got rid of him. They didn't sit that thing out. I mean, Anthony Davis started to sit out and all that stuff, and it was an ugly end, but they got rid of him. I'm sure right now, if LeBron James would get traded, they would get rid of him. Or request a trade, because he has so much power. He has so much money. Like, it's like he had poor ownership in the NBA. That's what it seems like when you're talking about LeBron and some of these star players. So I thought he was going to get traded. I really did. I also thought the Nets were kind of sick of the Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving tandem in a way, especially when you look at what Sean Marks said at the end of the year, saying we want guys that are going to be loyal, we want guys that are going to be winners, that are going to be here, that are going to be, that are truly going to be committed to winning. That was all pointing fingers at Kyrie Irving, saying, look, he wasn't loyal this year, and look, he chose not to get the vaccine. You can't blame the guy. It's a personal decision. It is what it is, right? You can't blame the guy for not getting it. It's a personal decision. It is what it is. But him saying that, not being committed, saying Kyrie Irving wasn't committed, all that stuff. Look, if COVID wasn't there, Kyrie would be playing. It is what it is. And I think that was all frustration from Sean Marks, and I think that kind of got all this going. So it's definitely weird. It's weird because it seemed like Kevin Durant was so done with this team. It really did. And now it's like he's back. Did they kind of tell him, look, if this year doesn't go as planned, you can, you could have a little bit more control in terms of who is the next coach of the Nets? Because Steve Nash is terrible. And I truly think, and Tiki Barber made a great point yesterday on Tiki and Tyranny on WFAN. They respect him as like a person and as a player. Steve Nash, Kevin Durant do, and Kyrie and the team does. But they don't really respect him as a coach. They disagree with a lot of things he does as a coach. And I thought that was a great point from what Tiki Barber said yesterday. It was something like that. It might not be the exact word for word, but it was something like that to encapsulate what he said. Because it's the truth, though. I think Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving truly respect Steve Nash. I do. I really do think that. But I don't think they respect him much as a coach. They respect him as a player, what he did. I think they respect him as a person. But when he's out there coaching, I think they disagree with a lot of things he does. I don't think they like his style of what he does. And I think we're all kind of shocked that he's this bad. Steve Nash is terrible. He's an awful head coach. Awful head coach. Terrible head coach. Probably one of the worst ones in the league, in my opinion. In terms of just his in-game decision-making, he's terrible. So he's a guy that, I think we're all kind of shocked that he was that bad at head coach. And I think the Nets are too, and then maybe that's part of it. But you do wonder, and I do want to know. And I still love Kevin Durant. He's still going to be a great player, and I'm pumped up that he's back. But I would like for him to come out and say something in terms of how this played out. Why did you request a trade? And why now are you staying? Why is that? Is it something that the Nets, said at the end of the year that got you frustrated, now they kind of made up for it? Is it just the simple fact that they said, look, we're not going to trade? He's not going to say that in front of the media. But is it something where, it's such an interesting situation. And you really wonder, if you don't win a championship this year, well, then what does next year bring? This is kind of a year-by-year basis now in terms of what this net team is. You really kind of wonder, you got to start winning games. You got to start going deep in the playoffs. The championships got to be on the top of your mind. Because after this year being the disappointment it was, Kevin Durant is locked up for the next 4 years. Was that part of it? That the Nets were saying, look, we're going to hold on to you. You want to sit out for the next 2 years or 3 years or a year from now, for this year, then fine, sit out. We're not going to get rid of you. Could that have been it? Who knows? Like I said, 4-year deal, all that stuff. But championship, look, and this is what I say. As long as, I don't care about the drama part of it, as long as this brings a championship to the Brooklyn Nets, that's all I care about. If the Nets in June are hoisting up the NBA title, and having a parade down Canyon of Heroes in New York, nobody will care about what took place with Kevin Durant in the offseason this year. Nobody would. Now, if it transpires and where they struggle this year, there's rifts between the coaches and the players, then that will be the focus. But for right now, he's locked in. He's committed. The Nets are committed to Kevin Durant. The Nets are committed to their goal of winning a championship. And that's all that matters. Leave the drama part of it aside. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving will be playing for the Brooklyn Nets this year. And, and I always say this. Yes, last year was a true struggle. It was a really bad year. But without James Harden now, you're going to have James Harden. You're not going to have James Harden for a year now. You'll have Ben Simmons. If he plays, I don't know what that guy is doing if he plays. Ben Simmons is a question mark until he goes on the court for his first minute as the Net. Then we could officially say, all right, he's playing. Until that point, you don't know what he's going to do. If he's going to show up in a clown outfit on opening night against the Pelicans and say, oh, my back's hurting, I'll be okay in a couple games. You don't know what to expect from Simmons. So he's still a question mark. But at least Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving will be here. And with them too, on this team, your chances of winning a championship are going to be very high. So they're going to be up there in the league. Now the big thing is, can you take down teams like the Bulls? Can you take down teams like the Bucks? Those are teams with better coaches. Heat with Spoelstra. Bucks with, better coach. Heat, all those teams got better coaches. Was that part of it? That Kevin Durant looks around the Eastern Conference and sees all these good coaches. And you look at the Nets with Steve Nash, it's kind of just a puppet. So, it's a big year for the Nets, really is. Because if you don't win this year and you get swept again, well, then next season the questions all start again. So, the fact that the Nets bring back Kevin Durant and he's staying is a plus. However this played out, who knows? Who knows how this played out? I mean, I don't know what it took. I don't know if one day Kevin Durant just said, you know what, I'm committed. I don't know what it was. I guess we'll find out, I'm sure, when, training camp starts up for the NBA and you get all the media and stuff. But for now, I guess we'll have to see. Just have to hope that this transpires in a championship. So this was a statement from Sean Marks yesterday. So Steve Nash and I, together with Joe Tsai and Ciara Usai, met with Kevin Durant and Rich Kleiman in Los Angeles yesterday. We have agreed to move forward with our partnership. We are focusing on basketball with one collective goal in mind: build a lasting franchise to bring a championship to Brooklyn. So that was the statement from Sean Marks yesterday. Joe Tsai, Steve Nash, Sean Marks, Rich Kleiman, Kevin Durant all met yesterday in Los Angeles. And whatever went down in that meeting went down. We probably won't know. Obviously, somebody said something that persuaded Kevin Durant to come back, and he's back. And that, at the end of the day, is really all that matters. I'm just happy this is all over. This was so just... I mean, every day, you would almost... Not every day, but a couple times a week, you would get like an update on your phone or on an app that says, oh, this team's interested in Kevin Durant. Like a couple days ago, now the Grizzlies are interested. You see the tweet from John Morant. It's like, then are the Heat still interested? Are the Celtics the front runners? It's like you hear all these different reports. It's just like at that point, you just want to know what's going to happen. And, it's August. But I did say at the beginning of this, I would like to have a solution by this earlier than the season. Because whether you trade and you bring in new pieces, they gotta get chemistry and they gotta build chemistry with guys. And look, the Nets upgraded their roster a little bit. I mean, getting Royce O'Neal, that was a good fit. TJ Warren, that was a good fit for this team with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Now, if Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving weren't going to be here, those really aren't good fits. So you do have to look now at the roster and you say, all right, you're getting Kyrie back, you're getting Kevin Durant back, because let's be honest here. If Kevin Durant got traded, most likely Kyrie's out the door with him. Okay, let's be real here. Ben Simmons, question mark. But if he plays, we know what he brings to the table. You added TJ Warren in the offseason, 3-and-D guy. You added Royce O'Neal, 3-and-D guy. The Nets needed those guys. They needed those 3-and-D guys that could hit a couple threes, play good defense. So they added them in the offseason. Actually, the day they added Royce O'Neal was the day Kevin Durant requested a trade. Those are good fits for the team we have now. Now, if Kevin Durant would have got traded, and Kyrie too, then they wouldn't have been great fits. And I've said that all offseason long. So the fact that they're here, you now look at the roster and you say, all right, let's go win a championship. That's the goal now. I mean, nothing less. We're not talking about getting to the postseason, winning getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. No. Now everybody's back. The team's a little improved. Go win a championship. That's, at the end of the day, the main goal when it comes to this. So, Kevin Durant last year, just to give you some of his numbers, 29.9 points per game, 7.4 rebounds per game, 6.4 assists, and a PER of 25.69. That was 55 games he played last year, 51.8 field goal percentage, and again, he struggled a little bit in the postseason. I mean, they had him locked down. And I think that's why the Nets built a little bit on the roster this year with the 3-and-D guys, getting Warren and Royce O'Neal, because they didn't really have that guy last year to rely on. In the postseason, they didn't really have that guy. I mean, Patty Mills was all right. He was a little inconsistent, though. He'd have a couple games where he'd really dominate. Seth Curry was solid. Again, though, another guy where, he was solid, but, you needed more of those guys. So, that's what you really needed. You needed more of those guys. So, yeah, Seth Curry, bring him back, three-point shooter. You add to you did lose Bruce Brown, which hurts. It does stink. You did lose Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown was really a solid asset for us for a couple seasons. But, look, you lose Bruce Brown, who was like a 3-and-D guy. So you get like a guy like a Royce O'Neal. You add a guy like a TJ Warren that can, if he could turn into the guy that he was in the bubble, that'd be insane. You hope that you get Joe Harris back. He only played, 14 games last year. he had the injury. So you hope you can get him back and he plays to the level that we all expect him to be. I mean, he struggled in the postseason the year prior, started a little slow last year. So you just gotta hope that he can get back into form. But I mean, yeah. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. Patty Mills re-signed. You did lose Bruce Brown. You get back Seth Curry. Now Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving are returning. You add Royce O'Neal and TJ Warren. So they built some things. You hope that if Ben Simmons plays up to the back of his, back of his playing card. I mean, he's just he's a good player. He's a good defender. Doesn't score much, but he's going to play defense. That's what the Nets need. He's one of the best defenders in the league when he decides to play. That's the key thing, when he plays. If he doesn't show up in clown outfits on the bench, then you don't get your best defender. But when he's out there and he's not in clown outfits on the bench, complaining that his back's hurting, then he's all right. So, anyway, I don't want to crush him. His back, I think he did have to get surgery or something this year, so we don't want to crush him too much. But it was such a frustrating situation last year when you kept hearing, oh, he'll be ready by game 3. Wasn't ready. Oh, he'll be ready by game 4. Wasn't ready. It's like, what's happening? Is that Ben Simmons just saying, look, I'm done, I don't want to play? Is that the doctors not having the right prognosis? Was that just Ben Simmons straight up just not feeling well enough? What was it? He'll be ready by game 3. He'll be ready by game 4. They get swept. Ben Simmons doesn't play a single minute with the Nets. So you hope that he can come. But if you look at the roster, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons, that's your big 3. If they all play up to ability, play up to standard, I mean, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are when they're out there. You know that. Ben Simmons is the big question. Yeah, Patty Mills, you get Joe Harris back, Seth Curry, you got some shooters, TJ Warren, Royce O'Neal, a little bit of defense, Slowly but surely you're looking at this team, you're like, all right, let's make a run for it. Here we go. So Kevin Durant staying with the Nets. And the 2 months of drama is now over with. Kevin Durant is staying with the Nets. And, it's funny. All of that for him to stay with the Nets. It's not like this was a blockbuster move, him going elsewhere and whatever. So he stays with the Nets, and now the focus shifts to winning a championship for the Brooklyn Nets. All right, so now let's get to the Mets-Yankees last night. Go to a little basketball to a little bit of baseball here, as the Yankees get the win 4-2 and sweep the Subway Series round number 2 at Yankee Stadium. So the Yankees win yesterday. They won on Monday, won again yesterday, both by the score 4-2. So the Mets at Citi Field earlier in the year took both from the Yankees. Yankees at Yankee Stadium took both from the Mets. So the Yankees and Mets do what they needed to do, took care of home field as Yankees beat the Mets 4-2 in both games. And now you wait and see if the World Series is the tiebreaker for these two teams. So, I just got to say that. And I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I've said this a lot of time. I've been very critical of this Yankee team. I really don't know how far we're going to get in the postseason. It's going to be real tough. I just don't know if we're talented enough to really get to the World Series. Personally, that's in my opinion. I've said it all along. We'll see how it plays out. The Mets and the Yankees are both have interesting paths, right? Because it's going to run through Houston in the American League. It's going to run through the Dodgers in the National League. So the Mets and Yankees obviously have an easier path, but Mets are, I think, a little bit better. I mean, I know the Yankees beat the Mets twice, but I guess we'll see. Anyway, because, you look at the National League, it's a tough path for the Mets, but they've proven they can beat the Braves. They've proven they can beat the Phillies. The Padres are just not going to be the same without, Josh Hader's been terrible since he joined them. Now you got the Tatis stuff surrounding the team. They just don't seem as much of a threat anymore. That's in my opinion. So you got that. Yankees should be able to get to the, if the Yankees can get to the ALCS, it's going to be the Astros waiting for them. Like Rays, Guardians, Blue Jays, those are teams that you should be able to beat. That's really how it should be. So, but watching these games, however the playoffs unfold, a Mets-Yankees World Series would just be great. Would be phenomenal. It really would be. Because you listen to the ninth inning last night, the top of the ninth, with Clark Schmidt out there. Now, I don't know if Clark Schmidt would be out there in Game 7 of the World Series, but with him out there last night and hearing the crowd for the Mets, hearing the crowd for the Yankees, hearing the noise, Just imagine if that was Game 7 of the World Series. 4-2, top of the ninth, bases loaded. I mean, just imagine. That would be wild. The crowd would be going wild. These past two games, and to be fair, the two games in Citi Field, both crowds brought it. Mets fans brought it at Citi Field. Yankees fans brought it at Yankee Stadium. And there was a good mix between the two of Yankee fans at Citi Field and Met fans at Yankee Stadium. So I am 100%. I want to see a Subway Series World Series. That would be phenomenal. Yes, it might not be great for the sport because people out west won't care about a series that's happening between two teams in the same city. But for me, for Yankee and Met fans, I mean, that would be phenomenal. That would be phenomenal. Because the energy the past two nights, 49,217 last night, 48,760 the night before. There was more people last night than the night before, showing you that it obviously didn't get, if the fourth game didn't get old, Yankee fans, Met fans wanted to be there. 49,217 strong last night at Yankee Stadium, and the energy in these four games at Citi Field and Yankee Stadium was phenomenal. It really was. And just imagine that in the playoffs. I think, and like I said this yesterday, I didn't witness the 2000 World Series. I think it would be even crazier than the 2000 World Series, just because the way social media is today, just because of the way, the market is, you got all these radio shows, all these people, just the way the world is today. You're talking about 22 years later. Things are a lot different today than they were back when they first met. That's why I think the series would be even crazier now than 22 years ago. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't witness it. Like I said, I didn't really get to see. I didn't witness it. So I don't really know what it was like. But I know it was, watching, seeing some of the highlights from the games, which I've seen over the years. Seeing that, the whole throwing the bat and all that stuff, Clemens and all that. That was all high energy. But I think it would be even crazier now just because of the way social media is, the way, people are, talk shows. You have all that stuff now, 22 years later. So that's just my opinion. But you just get, watching that game last night, it's you had to recheck yourself, and it's like, this is the Yankees' 124th game. This isn't Game 7 of the World Series. This is just another game. This is a Tuesday night in August. Because watching that game, and that's why it's great for the sport, the Subway Series. That's why it's great for the Yankees and Mets. Because you have this high energy series in the middle of it. If this was a Tuesday night against the Kansas City Royals, you'd be sitting there hoping for a win, and it wouldn't be high energy. 49,217 wouldn't show out. Maybe 40,000. The Yankees have had a lot of big crowds this year. You wouldn't get 49,217 going out for a Royals game. Or if the Twins were in town. I mean, even the Red Sox are a big name, obviously, but I think you're seeing more energy in these two series than you really have all year in the Red Sox-Yankee series. I think the Red Sox-Yankees it's still a big rivalry, obviously, but I still think, I just think, with the Red Sox struggling this year, it definitely hurts the energy and the rivalry a little bit. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. Who knows? So last night was great. The energy, both games, all four of them. And look, the Yankees had to take these two. Because if the Yankees lost one of these games, they would have lost 3 or 4 in the season series. And you would have Met fans talking all they want until if we would have faced them in the World Series, because they would have beat the season series. So the Yankees did what they needed to do. Mets took care of home field. Yankees took care of home field. And also, look, and this is what's good about the Yankees, right? You lose the first couple games at home. You lose Game 1, you lose Game 2. You were able to win Game 3 of the Rays series. You lose the first 3 games of the Blue Jays, and you're thinking to yourself, going into that Sunday game, it's seriously in jeopardy. Where you lose that Sunday game, you're looking at Scherzer and DeGrom. Again, this was on Sunday. This was before DeGrom got scratched to get moved in extra rest until he'll start tomorrow against the Rockies, Game 1 of the 4 games set at Citi Field. Mets will return home after a 10-game road trip. But going into that, you're like, we got to face Alek Manoah, Max Scherzer, Jacob DeGrom. So you're thinking to yourself, 3 of the best pitchers in all baseball. This is going to be terrible for a team that can't score. Yankees take care of business against Manoah. They take care of business against Scherzer. And just for good measure, took care of business against Tyler Walker. Now, it wasn't all Walker. He pitched pretty well. 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, 3 Ks. Obviously, Judge had that absolutely rocket 453 feet bomb. That thing was out. in a heartbeat. I mean, the blink of an eye, you'd miss that ball. That thing was smoked, and you knew it off the bat. That was one of those home runs you knew right off the bat. Boom, right on the sweet spot. Perfect swing by Judge. Fastball right there. Boom, Judge takes it 453 feet into the left field bleachers. Was beautiful. Other than that, Walker pitched pretty well. I mean, geez, he shut down. It was 9 up, 9 down. He was perfect through the order once. It wasn't until that fourth inning where Yankees, obviously, Judge hit the big 2-run home run after Rizzo got on, or the big solo home run. And then you obviously get, the walk, and he walks the bases loaded, and then he walks in a run. Oswaldo Cabrera gets his first RBI with the RBI walk. That scores Rizzo after Torres and Donaldson all walk. Well, Torres actually got a single. Torres and Donaldson and Cabrera walks the bases loaded. After that home run by Judge, he changed the game. But back to my point with the pitching, Yankees now, you look at the homestand, you go and say, we look at it completely differently. It's a 9-game homestand. Yankees go 4-5, but they finish on a 3-game win streak. And that was most important. Because in the middle there, it was ugly. It was looking real bad. But they finish it on a 3-game win streak, and what could have been a 1-8 homestand very easily turns it into a homestand where you go 4-5. You now head out west for 7 games, 4 against the lousy A's at a lousy stadium in Oakland. And you got 3 against the Angels, who are not good. They're not good. Every year they find a way to miss the playoffs. So they are a team that you should be able to beat. But last night, this game changed in that fourth inning. That Judge home run changed the complexion of the game because Walker was cruising. I mean, he went into that inning retiring 9 up, 9 down, including getting Torres the strikeout looking, and he struck out Higashioka to end third. Benintendi ends up starting the inning with that single. And you're like, all right, let's get something going here. Here we go. He got the single, got the first hit. Then LeMahieu grounds out into a double play, 5-4-3. Beatty to McNeil to Alonso. So you're like, all right, 2 outs now. Let's see what Judge can do. Nails that solo home run. And I think, too, just the fact that it was just that rocket, I mean, you could tell Walker wasn't throwing strikes. Rizzo then got the hit off of him. He wasn't throwing strikes. His confidence, everything went out the window after that. And he ends up walking the bases loaded. Oswaldo Cabrera gets his first RBI on a walk. Fleffa then grounds out, so no further damage. But that Judge solo home run changed the game. Because let's just say he strikes out Judge there. Not only does that save him pitches, he threw 81 pitches through 5 innings. Not only does all those walks, his pitch count skyrocketed. Not only do all those walks save his pitches, but he's cruising. I mean, he just struck out Judge again. Then he goes to then you have Rizzo, Torres, Donaldson, so on and so forth. You're thinking to yourself, how are the Yankees going to score here? They would have 1 hit over 4 innings. So that Judge home run changed the complexion of this game. Because you get the 2 runs in the fourth, and it's just, then the Mets come back and obviously tie. And credit to the Mets, that 4th inning, some things take place. So you obviously start the 4th inning with the double by Canha. Or the 5th inning, rather, with the double by Canha. And then you have the sacrifice bunt by Beatty. Or the catcher's interference, rather, by Beatty. So he swings, catcher's interference. It's funny. He was running down the line, pointing back to Higashioka. And you would kind of think to yourself, he was pointing back to the umpire like, did he hit off his foot or something? He wasn't running fully down the line. And for a rookie, for a guy that just got called up, you should be hustling. And then you hear that's a catcher's interference. But for a second there, you're like, why is this guy not hustling? Why is he hustling? Especially for a young guy. He should be hustling. But it was a catcher's interference, and he called it out. So he then goes, you obviously get, Canha stays at second. Runner doesn't advance on the catcher's interference. E2 by Higgy. Then you get the sacrifice bunt by Nitto, who had 2 sacrifices in the game. 2 of them. He had the sacrifice in the 5th, sacrifice in the 7th. Obviously, the sacrifice in the 7th didn't result to anything. But the sacrifice in the 6th moved Canha over to 3rd, got Beatty over to 2nd, and then crazy things took place. So then you get, that happens, and then sacrifice, then you get the Nimmo lines out, and then you get the single by Marte, run scores, Beatty tries to go home, can't, Cabrera makes a nice throw, gets Beatty out at home, ends the inning, ends further damage. Very good play by Cabrera, who, by the way, other than Monday night, where him and Gonzalez had the pop-up or fly ball blunder in the outfield where that should be Gonzalez's ball. Other than that, he's played stellar defense. including throwing Beatty out at home in that 5th inning to prevent further damage from the Mets in that 5th. So you then go to the 6th, and this is where, if there was a point in this game, and again, the Mets had so many opportunities. They had an opportunity in the 1st. 2 walks, or a single and a walk. An opportunity. 1st and 2nd, 1 out, with Lindor and Alonso and Vogelbach set up in the 1st inning. Due up in the 1st inning. Nothing happens. Alonso pops out to Rizzo. Vogelbach strikes out. Leave 2 runners on there. You go to the 2nd, and again, Montez pitched well, but he found himself in early jams. And you're thinking to yourself, in that 1st inning, I think he threw like 27 pitches. In that 1st inning, you're thinking to yourself, this thing's going to blow up right in front of us. Wasn't the case. Got out of it. 2nd inning. Montez starts. McNeil hits a single. Canna then gets hit by a pitch. Then Beatty grounds out, or then Nito grounds into a double play. So you have, you had the fielder's choice where it was 4-6. So Torres went to Fleffa. They couldn't get Beatty. So Beatty got there in time. So Canna's out at 2nd. You get the run. So then McNeil advances to 3rd. So you have a runner on 3rd. You have a runner on 1st and 3rd. 1 out. Nito comes up, grounds into a double play. So again, you had runners on 1st and 2nd. 1 out, no outs. Then you had runners on 1st and 3rd, 2 outs, or 1 out. Runners on 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Couldn't get the job done. So again, you leave your runner on there. Mets in total last night left 10 runners on. And they were, what were they? 2 of 13 with runners in scoring position. And those first 2 innings, I mean, the Mets had a chance with Alonso and Vogelbach due up with a runner on 1st and 2nd, including a bad walk to Lindor. After that, the Mets had a chance to blow it open in the 1st inning. Montez had to work a lot, 27 pitches. They were seeing a lot of pitches. You had an opportunity to hit a 3-run homer, get 4 runs up on the board in the 1st inning, and run away with the game. Couldn't do it. In the 2nd inning, another opportunity. Couldn't do it. Then Montez gets in a groove, strikes out the side in the 3rd, gets 2 of the 3 to strike out in the 4th, including getting Alonso to break his bat over his knee after he strikes out swinging. Although the next 2 at-bats, he ended up hitting singles. So obviously the frustration worked a little bit because he found a way to hit later in the game. And like I said, that 6th inning was tough too. Because then you go to the 6th. And Montez, by the way, pitched well last night. I said that. He needed to pitch well last night. He needed to. 5 2/3, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 1 walk, 6 Ks. 92 pitches, 57 strikes. His ERA drops from 3.87 to 3.84. By far his best start as a Yankee. And he started the game out rough. First 2 innings were really rough. But found runners on 1st and 2nd. Found, had traffic on the bases in the first 2 innings. Found a way to bounce back. That 6th inning, though, could have been bad. Because it starts out Lindor grounding out Rizzo. Nice play by Rizzo. Tosses it over to Frankie Montes. So you then go, Alonso comes up, hits the single. And then this is where things get crazy. So after Vogelbach flies out to the right fielder, or center fielder, in Judge, you get, they make a pitching change. And, or McNeil then hits a double. And you're thinking to yourself, all right, hits a double. Alonso's going to score. Alonso's running around 3rd, trips on the base, trips over his feet, whatever it is, and he stumbles. He didn't fall, but he kind of stumbled a little bit. And Torres gets the ball. It was a good relay throw by Judge. Torres gets the ball. Beautiful throw by Judge. Higgy's got his hands up in the air. Calling for the ball as Alonso takes for home. Number 1, he's not fast. Number 2, it's delayed. Ball's in the infield already. He's going for home. You could have had him easily. Torres, and he just makes a boneheaded decision and dives to second base to try to get McNeil because McNeil was off the bag. McNeil then gets back to second. It's a double. Alonso scores. And again, another opportunity for the Mets. Boneheaded mistake by the Yankees. Alonso scores. An opportunity there for the Mets to, again, get some runs up. Canna can't do it. They take Montez out, bring in Schmidt. He gets Canna to ground out to Fleffa. So, just, again, boneheaded decision. Another opportunity for the Mets, too. Opportunities in the 1st, opportunities in the 2nd. Took advantage in the 5th. And an opportunity in the 6th to take advantage of a boneheaded mistake. And they could not do it. Now, they did in a way because they scored, but they couldn't do any further damage. So, Yankees, like I said, then you go to the bottom of the 7th for the Yankees, and this was kind of just the encapsulation of why Met fans were frustrated that they didn't make any moves at the deadline in terms of really to improve this bullpen. Michael Givens has been all right. It's funny. He's been better in high-leverage situations than he has been in, like, blowouts. It's funny. Sometimes pitchers are like that. So you bring in Lugo. He pitches a nice clean inning in the 6th, getting Judge and Rizzo to strike out. He did walk Torres, but he ended up getting Donaldson to fly out. A little bit of traffic. Torres ends up getting to third on a wild pitch and in a stolen base, but Donaldson ends up flying out. So there was no damage there. Clean inning for Lugo, 21 pitches, 12 strikes. You go then to the 7th. Joely Rodriguez comes in, who's really struggled this season. His ERA, by the way, now is 5.11. And he threw 8 pitches. 8 of them, by the way, were strikes, which is funny. But he just got drilled. So he starts the inning off. Cabrera hits a single. Then Fleff has a sac bunt. Carrera goes to second. There then is a single by Trevino, who came in to pinch hit for Higgy. He gets a single. Cabrera moves to third. So first and third. Then you get Benintendi to hit a single. You get Trevino to score. Cabrera then scores. So you get that. Then LeMahieu then strikes out. But then you get another single by Judge, RBI. Then you get an intentionally walk on Rizzo, and they finally get him to fly out. So, and by the way, 7th. Then they brought in Ottavino to save Joely Rodriguez. He comes in, strikes out LeMahieu. Judge then singles off of him. Rizzo was intentionally walked. They then get Torres to fly out. So the only guy for the Yankees to not bat that inning was Donaldson, who made the last out the prior inning. So that was a long inning. That destroyed the Mets. It really did. And again, your bullpen a little bit. The bullpen again blowing it. And it's Joely Rodriguez yet again. So he pitched an inning, third of an inning, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 1 walk, or no walks, no Ks, 8 pitches, 8 strikes, got drilled. I mean, he got everything he was throwing, Yankees were hitting. Yankees had 2 runs, 4 hits. That inning, they did leave 3 on base. They did leave the bases loaded, so they couldn't really blow it completely open. Didn't do much in the 8th. Then you go to the 9th, and the 9th was crazy. And, you get Canada ground out. You get Beatty to fly out. Then you get Naquin comes in to pinch hit. He walks. And you're like, all right, he walks. He then gets on defensive indifference. And then you get, the single by Nimmo. So Nimmo singles. You then get the walk. Advances him. Bases loaded. 2 outs. Bottom of the 9th. Or top of the 9th. He could not get the final out. Schmidt was close to getting Nimmo out. Couldn't get him. Close to getting Marte out. Couldn't get him. You then get Lindor to come up to the plate with bases loaded. 2 outs in the 9th. Lindor flies out. And he had a foul ball down the left field line that was just foul. And when off the bat, I thought that was going to be a bases clearing double and the Mets were going to tie the game. That's how worried I got. Or they were going to take the lead. So they didn't do that. He ends up flying out and the Mets win. Or Yankees win. So again, another opportunity. Mets had opportunities in the 1st. They had opportunities in the 2nd. They had opportunities in the 5th. And in the 6th too, that boneheaded decision by Glaber, Mets could have took advantage of that even more and got McNeil home. They should have been out of the inning, couldn't get McNeil home after that. So had opportunities in the 6th, couldn't take advantage. An opportunity in the 8th, couldn't take advantage. An opportunity in the 9th with the bases loaded, could not take advantage. So you're looking at the majority of these innings. 1st, 2nd, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. I mean, really, you're looking at like 6, 7 of the 9 innings. Mets had opportunities. They had traffic on the bases, and they could not get the job done. So a very frustrating loss for the Mets and a very big win for the Yankees, and they get the job done. And I know Clark Schmidt lost the control late in that inning, but he pitched very well. 3 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no earned, 3 walks, no Ks, 60 pitches, 34 strikes. I know he lost some gas late, but still a very good outing for him. Got 9 outs, needed 10, couldn't get it. Peralta then came in a third of an inning, 5 pitches, 5 Ks, zeros across the board for him, and Yankees get the win 4-2. So the story of this game for the Mets was could not take advantage of other opportunities. Many opportunities. I mean, in the 1st, you had an opportunity to strike first. 2nd, you had an opportunity to build on it. Couldn't do it. In the last inning, you had bases loaded. Bases loaded. Could not take advantage. So that's going to hurt you in games. And that kind of felt like what was the story yesterday for the Mets. And to the credit of the Yankees pitching, Montez, Schmidt, Peralta, they all worked themselves in and out of jams. And that's good. Big-time pitching and big-time moments. So it was good to see that. So the Yankees get the win. They improved to 76-48 on the year. Mets fall to 79-46 on the season. Yankees improved to 76-48, like I said. And the Mets now, you look at the standings. Mets now are only 2 games up on the Braves after they smoked the Pirates yesterday, and they'll go for the series sweep today against the Pirates. I think that game's 12:35 Eastern. And the Yankees are now up 8 games on Tampa, 8.5 on Toronto, and it was good for them to win because yesterday Tampa and Toronto both won their games. So good that the Yankees win, and like I said, you're starting to see this Yankee team again yesterday. I mean, look at the 7th inning. It wasn't home run. There was no home run that inning. It was all singles. Single by Benintendi, single by Judge, single by Cabrera, single by Trevino. Small ball, getting runners on, taking advantage with runners in scoring position. You saw that all the time earlier in the year with the Yankees. You haven't seen it recently. You're starting to see it again. That's a good sign. So, Yankees sweep the Subway Series at Yankee Stadium. Overall, the Mets and Yankees split the 4 games 2 apiece. Yankees will now head out to Oakland for 4 games against the A's, and they'll head out to the Angels to play 3 games there. Then they'll play Tampa for 3 before returning back home to play the Twins. So the next time the Yankees are home is September 5th. So it's a very long time until the Yankees are home. So they'll head out to it for a very long road trip starting tomorrow in Oakland, West Coast trip. And you look at that road trip and you think to yourself, you got 4 against Oakland. You should sweep. Oakland's terrible. You got 3 against the Angels. You should at least take 2 or 3 there. Angels may take 1. They're a little bit more talented. You then got the Rays, and you'll see what you can do. Rays are a pretty good team. But if you might find yourself in that position, if you can sweep the A's, or if the Yankees, I mean, this is a road trip for the Yankees. It's a 10-game road trip. 10-game, 3-city road trip. If you can sweep the A's 4, right, take 2 or 3 again, there is a realistic possibility the Yankees can go 8-2 on this road trip. They really can. 7-3, 8-2. Maybe I'll say 7-3. Maybe they'll take 3-4 against. Maybe Oakland will steal a game. But there should be no. If the Yankees go like 5-5 on this road trip, that should not be the case. I understand it's West Coast, but you're going up against the A's, who are 45-79. They're 34 games back in the NL West. Second worst team, I think, in all of baseball. The Nationals are the only team worse than them. Okay, you then go to the Angels, who are 52-71, 26.5 games back in the NL West. They're not good. AL West. And then the Rays are, we know what the Rays are. They're a solid team. But the Yankees can beat the Rays. If they play like this, they can. They did it earlier in the year. They struggled against the Rays the first series of the homestand because they couldn't hit. But we're starting to see some things of this Yankee team earlier in the season. So, big road trip coming up for the Yankees. I absolutely despise West Coast road trips. But it is what it is, I guess. Kind of just got to roll with it. And I always say that West Coast road trips are one of those things where I always, as a fan, you like to get them done with earlier in the year. Mets got it done with earlier in the year. Now the Yankees, of course, too, right as August ends going into September, the next Yankee home game will be September 5th. That's just so frustrating. It's just frustrating because it's just like, you wish this West Coast, I'd rather this West Coast road trip take place in April when it's cold and it's go out west to the warm weather, play there, come back, and not have any more West Coast games the rest of the season. But Yankees will go out to the West Coast to play the A's for 4 games, Angels for 3, then they'll go to Tampa. So at least that's not West Coast, but they'll go to Tampa for 3 as well. So anyway, that will do it for the Yankees-Mets Subway Series done with. And like I said, Mets will now go over to Citi Field and enjoy a homestand that will start up with 4 against the Rockies, and then they'll play the Dodgers after that. So a lot of good Met games coming up. We'll be watching a lot more Mets since the Yankees won't be coming on until 9:40. So going to need something to watch to fill that time before the Yankees come on. So I'll be watching a lot of Mets over the next couple days. Even on Saturday, the Yankees play at 9:40 Eastern. So it's not even like it's a 4 o'clock game on like a Saturday or something. Sunday they play at 4, but it's just, I hate West Coast trips so much. They're just annoying. They really are. And they're long, too. I mean, they're never, unless if it's like the Mariners who they played earlier in the year or a couple weeks ago, they're always very long. They're like 4 games, 3 games, and then they'll play like a East Coast team and they'll play like 3 games there. They're never like 2 quick series, like 2 quick 3-game sets, boom, go back to Yankee Stadium. they're always just these 10-game road trips that take forever. They seem like when the West Coast road trips are going on, it feels like they're away for like a month. It does. It feels like forever. But the homestands feel like that. They go like that. But the West Coast road trips, they go for. I mean, road trips usually aren't that bad. Like going to play, if you got to play Tampa, Boston, Toronto, not bad. But the fact that the game's coming at 9:40 Eastern, it's just that's the bad part. And they feel like they are forever. I feel like the series take so long. So anyway, that's my West Coast trip rant for the Yankees here. But we'll get to baseball here. Pirates, Braves today. Tigers, Giants. Rockies, Rangers. Marlins, A's. Guardians, Padres, Nationals, Mariners, Phillies, Reds, Orioles, White Sox, Angels, Rays, Blue Jays, Red Sox, Cubs, Cardinals, Royals, Diamondbacks, Astros, Twins, Brewers, Dodgers. Yankees, Mets both have days off today. As for fantasy baseball, I'm currently winning in my main league 156-91. Today I've got going Jose Barrios and Logan Webb. And in my other league, I'm currently winning 114-91 as well. And I've got Jose Barrios and Logan Webb. By the way, I picked up Jordan Montgomery, which is just, it's crazy to think how good he's been. Picked him up on waivers in my other league. I mean, he's been phenomenal since leaving the Yankees. His last start, he pitched 9 innings, 7 Ks, 1 hit. He had a complete game shutout. 1 hit. His last outing. My main league, I don't have him, but my other league, I picked him up. So, what is it? Going to the Cardinals now? Some of it could be Molina. I mean, now he's just dominating. So, pretty cool to see that from Monty. I mean, it stinks that he's not doing that with the Yankees and they traded him, but, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. So, anyway, that will do it for the podcast here today. Yankees, Mets, day off. So, find some other baseball on. Find some other national games on to fill in tonight and watch tonight as Yankees and Mets both have days off. So, that will do it for the podcast here today. As always, I will see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.